The May 19th, 2025 meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Chardy. Mr. Chardy is present. Mr. Cruz.
Presente.
Mr. Cruz is present. Chairman Frazier.
Present.
Chairman Frazier is present. Ms. Hasman. Ms. Hasman is present. Mr. McCabe. Mr. McCabe is present.
Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
No, there is not.
Is there anyone present who has not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? If there are none, that concludes the public forum. Pat Gooch, Senior Planner for Monroe County's Planning and Development Department, will now give a brief overview of the 2026-2031 Capital Improvement Program as it pertains to the Planning and Economic Development Committee.
Thank you, Chairperson Frazier. You should all have a copy of the County Executive's recommended 2026-2031 CIP. The process for pulling together the CIP is largely the same most years. In fall, departments are asked to propose projects for the CIP according to guidelines established by the CIP Review Committee. Guidelines include consistency with last year's program, funding constraints, and adding new projects in the out years of the program unless clearly justified. There are 14 new projects in this year's CIP program. 71% of that funding is scheduled for the out years, with the remaining funding scheduled for 2026 in 5 different projects, roughly $11 million in 2026. Of those 5 projects scheduled for 2026, most are maintenance-related projects that have now risen to a priority. Throughout the fall, the CIP reviews the proposed projects and makes changes based on project priority, fiscal constraints in the program. Earlier this year, the committee presents a recommended CIP based on our understanding of departmental need to the county executive. The county executive's comments are incorporated into the CIP, and he submits his proposed CIP to the county planning board. In March, the Monroe County Planning Board reviews the CIP, holds a public information meeting, sets priorities for the capital budget year, which is the first year of the CIP, 2026, and submits its recommended CIP to the county executive. The county executive takes the opportunity to make further revisions if needed, and then submits the recommended CIP to your honorable body for its May meeting. In June, the legislature will set a public hearing to be held at the July legislature meeting. At that same legislature meeting, you will consider, and upon your favorable review, vote to adopt the plan. The capital budget year is presented with the operating budget and is considered in December, when bond resolutions are passed for the projects scheduled for 2026. I'll walk you through the CIP document. The 6-year program is summarized in Table 1 on pages 4 to 5 of the CIP. Let's look at the program in terms of funding sources, budget year funding, and new projects. Recommended total program funding is nearly $562 million for 13 departments of Monroe County. Total county funding, which is all but Monroe Community Hospital, Airport, Pure Waters, and Solid Waste, is just over $280 million in the recommended CIP, which is approximately 50% of the total CIP. There are 2 kinds of county funding, bonding and county cash. Projects that use county cash are paid for out of operating funds and do not affect the county's debt. Projects that require bonding contribute to the county's debt. Debt estimates are visualized on Chart 2 on page 3. District funding is used by Pure Waters and accounts for almost 30% of the total CIP funding. There are 2 kinds of district funding, bonding and district cash. Projects that use district cash are paid for out of operating funds and do not impact Pure Waters' debt. Monroe County Water Authority is also district funded. Enterprise funding or user fees relate to the hospital, airport, and solid waste. They account for 7% of the total CIP funding. There are 2 kinds of enterprise funding, bonding and cash. Projects that use cash are paid for out of operating funds. State and federal funding is used at Monroe Community College, the airport, facilities, traffic engineering, highways and bridges, and sheriff's programs. Together, state and federal funding account for just under 13% of the CIP. There is currently no private funding scheduled in the recommended CIP. Private funding often comes into the CIP when a road project is partially funded by a municipality or a private developer. Now I'm going to highlight a few departments with new projects in the CIP. As I mentioned earlier, departments only appear in the CIP program if they have a project in the 6-year program. You will recall that the county clerk's office appeared in last year's 6-year program and does not appear this year. The Board of Elections has a project scheduled for 2026, but nothing else. If that holds, they will fall out of the next year's CIP. The Monroe Community College funding plan begins on page 13. It contains 9 projects, 2 of which are new. Reorganized front drop-off and campus gateway improvements, both of which stem from the 2020 Facilities Master Plan, and focus on upgrading the campus experience and navigation, including access for students and visitors using the Brighton campus. The MCC program accounts for less than 9% of the total 6-year capital program. Moving on to the Department of Environmental Services, the Pure Waters program begins on page 36. 5 new projects are introduced to the CIP, one of which, Rochester Pure Waters District Frank E. Van Leer Water Resources Recovery Facility Biosolids Handling, is slotted for 2026. The remaining 4 are slotted for the last year of the 6-year program, 2031. Pure Waters projects are funded solely through district funds. The Pure Waters program accounts for just under 30% of the total capital program. The Facilities Management program begins on page 49 of your CIP. There are 2 new projects related to improvements to county facilities in this CIP. The Ames Building expansion, which is necessary to increase space for forensic activities, is scheduled for 2026, and the other, GIS Enterprise Systems, is scheduled for 2027. The county's facilities program accounts for just under 12% of the total capital program. The 6-year program for county funding of the Parks Department begins on page 60. There are 14 parks projects in the CIP. One of these projects is new, Ellison Park Improvements, which is designed to mitigate the flooding impacts from high rain or water events that routinely affect several shelters in the park. The Parks program accounts for just over 2.5% of this recommended capital program. The Department of Transportation Highways and Bridges program begins on page 70 of the CIP, and it includes its annual projects designed to operate and maintain our roads. This includes annual milling and resurfacing projects, preventive maintenance projects, culvert replacement and bridge maintenance, and 12 projects on various county roads. The Traffic Engineering program is on page 82 and has several recurring projects to maintain safe traffic flow on roads in Monroe County, and in 2028, maintenance work to the James R. Pond Regional Traffic Operations Center. The DOT program accounts for just over 6% of the total capital program. The Sheriff's program begins on page 93. There are 11 projects in the Sheriff's program. 3 new projects include maintenance for the jail tower and vehicle replacement of the Sheriff's Incident Command Post. The Sheriff's program accounts for just over 4% of the total capital program. I'll be happy to take questions when the committee gets to this item on its agenda. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Gooch. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the February 24th, 2025 minutes of the Planning and Economic Development Committee before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk?
25-0158, adopt 2026 through 2031 capital improvement program.
Move it.
Moved by legislator Cruz and second by legislator Hasman. Is there any discussion? Legislator Chardy.
Yep, sorry. Yes, through the chair, for any of these projects in the portion of the CIP delayed, downsized, or canceled, and can you provide a list of those if there were?
Through the chair, we of course can provide a list.
And then through the chair, what new projects were added to this portion, if there were any?
Through the chair, through the chair. There are several new projects in the CIP this year, 14 in total. They range from 2 new Monroe Community College projects, 5 DES projects, 2 DES Engineering and Facilities Management, 1 Solid Waste, 1 Department of Parks project, and 1 Public Safety project, and 3 new projects from the Sheriff's Office.
I yield. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Next item. Oh, all those in favor, please signify by saying, oh, there is discussion.
I was just holding back.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25 159. Amend Resolution 194 of 2021 as amended by Resolution 173 of 2022 to extend the grant period of the Home Investment Partnerships American Rescue Plan Home ARP Program and to authorize a contract with Kane Properties LLC for the development of the Fine Arts Lofts.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Cruz, second by legislator Hasman. Any discussion? Yes.
Through the chair, can you provide more details on this plan and how it came to be?
Through the chair, we did an RFP with the city of Rochester in May of 2024 for this funding as required by HUD.
Okay, and through the chair, why was this selected as the project for these ARPA funds?
Through the chair, this project was the only project that we received that qualified through the home ARP qualifying populations criteria.
And as a follow-up to the chair, how many applicants didn't qualify?
Through the chair, there were a total, we did, through the RFP, it was, it included city and county entitlement funds as well as home ARPA funds. And as I mentioned, this is the only project that came in as home ARPA eligible.
So that there were, through the chair, there were no other applicants that weren't eligible that
Through the-
applied?
Through the chair, no.
Thank you. I yield.
Thanks, legislator McCabe. Legislator Hasman.
Through the chair, the entire project is set aside for low-income individuals. Through the chair, it actually has changed since the referral submission. It is all apartments for those that are below 80% of the area median income. Yes.
Is there any other discussion? Yes, legislator McCabe.
So that project, through the chair to the administration, so the project that's, as you answered, my colleague legislator Hasman, is they're all apartments?
Through the chair, yes.
And you mentioned the 80% median threshold for income.
Through the chair, yes.
What is that number?
I don't have that with me. That just changed. Through the chair, we can provide that.
Thank you.
And through the chair to the administration, the remainder, $6.2 million of funding, do you know where Kane Properties LLC will be obtaining those funds?
Through the chair, they have received commitments from multiple sources.
I'm
and
sorry, I can't hear you.
Through the chair, they have received funding from multiple sources, including New York State. And I can provide the list of all the other funding sources.
Yeah, if I could have a list for that. And through the chair, will this $750,000 be given after, before the underfunding is secured and received, or before?
Through the chair, can you repeat that, please?
Will the funding that is provided under the grant be provided to the developer prior or after they secure the remaining funding?
Through the chair, the funds will not be provided until construction has started and it's reimbursable.
Thank you. No further.
Legislator McCabe.
Through the chair to the administration, are these apartments, are they 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom? Is it a mixture? Do we know what?
Through the chair, they will be, they're 18 studio apartments and 24 one-bedroom units.
Thank you. I yield.
Is there any other questions?
I have one more question.
Legislator McCabe.
To the chair of the administration, there's a building and I don't recall the building that's actually next to the Cadillac Hotel. Is there any funding to help that building be developed through the American Rescue Plan?
Through the chair, I'm not aware of any development plans for that property next door.
Thank you. Nothing. further.
Is there any other questions? Yes, Legislator
Through the
Cruz.
chair, to the administration, has the Cadillac Hotel, I know through construction, there could be a problem with asbestos and things of that nature lead. Are there gonna be street closings around the construction site or renovation site once it starts getting renovated?
Through the chair, I'm not aware of the exact plans at the moment.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Twenty-five 160 amend resolution 144 of 2024 to authorize an amendment to Monroe County's 2024 annual action plan for the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG program to revise a project scope and location to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Cruz, seconded by Legislator Hasman. Any questions?
Through the chair to the administration, can you tell me why this is necessary and has this been done before?
Through the chair, the original project was no longer eligible once HUD updated the Lomond census tracts.
It has been done before?
Through the chair, yes.
Nothing. further.
Any other questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Twenty-five 161 authorize grant contracts pursuant to the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Cruz, seconded by Legislator Hasman. Is there any discussion? Yes, Legislator McCabe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair, could you take a moment to further explain what each of these initiatives are?
Through the chair, the entire RFP was for affordable housing. The first-time homebuyer program would provide direct subsidies for down payment and closing cost assistance for income eligible first-time homebuyers. The rental housing development project, the Northfield, will develop and turn the entire project into low-income housing for seniors. Acquisition rehab would be to acquire vacant properties and rehab them for resale to income eligible first-time homebuyers. And for home improvement, it would be for owner occupied homeowners to have rehab completed on their home.
And through the chair, with each of those, you just mentioned, for example, the 789,000 and change to Rochester Roots. What exactly does that look like?
Through the chair, that is an acquisition rehab resale program. They will build on vacant property. And once the homes are completed, sell them to income eligible first-time homebuyers.
Okay, and for example, the housing council at Pastone, that 600, can you just, I mean, I think you answered it, but I was trying to tie what was with what, I guess. So I thank you for your patience.
Through the chair, that one is for down payment and closing cost assistance up to 30,000 per homeowner.
And as a follow-up on that, that's throughout Monroe County, correct?
Through the chair, yes.
Thank you. And through the chair, are these funds part of the 4.2 million authorized in the last ARPA package?
Through the chair, yes.
And through the chair, with the exception of Rochester Roots or Fairport project, are the others planned to be offered or available countywide and not just in the city? I think you answered on the one that it is, but on the others?
Through the chair, yes.
Thank you. I yield.
Is there any other discussion? Legislator Chardy.
Sorry. And through the chair, what were the risk assessments for all these agencies?
We'll get that to you, legislator.
Thank you. And then my final question, through the chair, with regards to all the ARPA initiatives. Can we receive and be provided all the ERP audits? And the final product completion to date for all of the ARP A initiatives. And you can give us that after, I'm guessing.
Legislator Brendan Fleming, Chief Deputy County Attorney. Many of them are, if not all, are online, but we can certainly provide those and or point you to them.
Thank you. Nothing further. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0168, 2025 through 2029 5-year strategic plan and 2025 annual action plan for housing and community development in suburban Monroe County and grant submission to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Move it.
Moved by legislator Cruz, seconded by legislator Hasman. Is there any discussion? Legislator Chari.
Yes, through the chair, to the administration, do we have any indication? Do we have any immediate concerns or indications about this funding being further cut or eliminated by the federal government?
Through the chair, Brendan Fleming for the Law Department. Yes, legislator, to the legislator's question, several programs are under potential threat in the proposed federal fiscal year 2026 budget. This referral captures CDBG, home, and ESG programs. Both home and CDBG are proposed to be eliminated in the proposed federal budget, and ESG would face partial reductions. And we are continuing to monitor that as it's an ongoing and dynamic budget process.
And through the chair to the administration, then if they are cut, what would happen to the funding?
Through the chair, if they are cut, we expect the funding would no longer be available for new projects going forward. But again, we are continuing to monitor that and we'll be glad to keep the legislature apprised.
Thank you. Nothing further. I yield.
Is there any other discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0177, acceptance of a Safe Streets and Roads for All grant from the United States Department of Transportation's Federal Highway Administration for the Monroe County Active Transportation Safety Project.
Move it.
Moved by legislator Cruz, seconded by legislator Charity and Hasman. Is there any discussion? Yes, legislator Hasman.
Through the chair, yes, there are 10 high accident location areas. They are in Arundecoit, Brighton, Henrietta, Hilton, Brighton, Penfield, Webster, and Arundecoit again. And there are 4 school districts that we will be working with, three areas in Rochester, 1 in Greece. And then we have identified 5 corridors that we'll be working on, mostly in the city around the RTS bus station, but not exclusively.
Great, thank you. I yield.
Is there any other discussion? Can we get a list of those?
Through the chair, absolutely.
Thank you. If there any other discussion? Nope. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Are there any other matters to come before this committee? Passes. There being no other matters, the May 19, 2025 meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee will be held on Monday, June 23rd, 2025 at